I'm so glad to be here. The steak and the scissors.
Steak and scissors? Oh, you mean the wizard CZ and never wrong Nick Bull.
You have never hunted something like this. Don't hunt what you can't kill, fella.
So it's that kind of wrestling podcast.
I want to be the guy throwing snakes at people.
Then you've found the right place. The podcast by the fan, for the fan. The card subject to change on the Wrestling Society Network.
The surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, Mantar.
Here now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the Wizard CZ and never wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast. Of course, we are on the Wrestling Society Network, and as we are powered by Low Pies Pizza. Happy to be here on the Wrestling Society Network. I am never wrong, Nick Bull. Welcome to our little corner of the world. I say our. I'll introduce my partner here in a second. Our little corner of the world where we talk about wrestling, wrestling fandom, and of course, all the topics in wrestling. I am never wrong, Nick Bull. So happy you're here. Episode 236. We've been doing this for a couple minutes now. We kind of got the hang of it. We're getting better, trust me, hopefully, as each episode passes. But we're here. We're almost through. We are through the month of January. So each day we trot forward. We're almost through winter. And now we get to go through the shortest month of the year, which is going to be February, obviously. And then spring's around the corner. So we're almost through winter if you are here in the Midwest like my partner and myself. My partner is the esteemed, the trained, the knowledged, the known. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing, bud?
Man, I feel really good. We're doing a little afternoon delight today because we've got something planned for tonight. We're finally going to get with Joe Winkle. We'll talk more on that later. The stars have aligned for today to be the perfect day to get a couple shows in. So I'm happy.
Oh, absolutely. We got our weekly show that we always do on Sundays, usually around 6:30. We go live, going a little bit earlier today, as Chris just mentioned. But anytime you hammer down a star like Joe Winkle and you've got a series to do with him, you're kind of conformed to his schedule. He's got a lot more stuff going on. He is a wanted man. So we were unable to hook up due to illnesses and scheduling the past few weeks. We're going to knock it out here later today. So definitely looking forward to that. So if you're into this thing, you're into what we do here at Card Subject to Change, a little Sunday afternoon delight, double dip we're throwing at you here. But I know what we're talking about when Ricky Lee, what's going on? What's happening? Glad you're tuning in, buddy. Would like to know, what are we going to talk about today?
There was some minor show that happened yesterday. Just a little small premium live event that barely anybody cares about. It's not like it's the best match of the entire year.
Yeah, something big did happen yesterday. Of course, we're going to talk about Royal Rumble in Riyadh here in a few minutes. But pardon our pun, how to build a stadium in 25 days. I want to see this documentary because they did build a stadium in 25 days.
Yes.
Unbelievable, of course. They've got different laws over there. But that was kind of our tongue-in-cheek thing, as we really didn't want to watch a Royal Rumble from Riyadh, just like we don't want to see a Wrestlemania from Saudi Arabia. That's out of our hands. That's not going to stop my fandom. I hope it doesn't stop yours. I can't speak for CZ, but I love wrestling enough that I put that aside and watch wrestling. But not going to get political here today. I just wanted to say that was our little tongue-in-cheek joke at it being in Saudi Arabia. But yesterday's Royal Rumble aired 1 o'clock for us, here Central Time Zone in the good old US of A. There was no way I was going to be able to watch it live. I was in a gym from about 10 o'clock in the morning yesterday morning to about 6:45 last night. I did not get to sit down and watch said Royal Rumble until 9 o'clock last night. And I want to give myself a little pat on the back here that I avoided spoilers and social media for like 8 straight hours.
It's true. I was texting him a couple times, not to spoil anything, but I didn't hear from him till right around the time he was getting ready to watch the Rumble.
And I called you. I said, hey, I'm driving home. I haven't watched it. Don't answer. I'm not going to ask you very many questions. Did you enjoy the show? And there was a long pause, and now I'm like, oh, shit. He hated it. Something he hated about it. He didn't like it. And so I kind of like went into the show thinking that. I guess I'll have to ask you when we get to the part of the show we start talking about the Rumble, what it was for you that kind of gave you that hang up. But last night was kind of refreshing for me. Even though I was watching the show 8 hours after it went live, I'm here to tell you, not having your phone in your hand and just watching a show by yourself, like, God, it felt like 1994 again, and I freaking loved it. I know you can't do it for every show. It's just impossible these days. But if you wanted to try to do it for a show here or there, I think you could. I absolutely think you could. But that, like, to me, like, not knowing anything about those 4 matches, not knowing any of the surprises, not hearing a word, and, like, I was excited, like, kind of gave me a nostalgic feeling. I'll still criticize the show, but I had a really cool time watching this show, like, kind of like being off the grid for 8 hours, not knowing what happened.
And that's awesome. I got to enjoy the show with Stryker and his dad, so that was a lot of fun for me.
Stryker, what's going on?
Had a lot of fun, and there were a couple times where I swear Stryker had a headset in and was talking to Triple H because he's like, this is the next competitor, and it was.
Really? Maybe Stryker got hired after they shot Unreal season 2, and Stryker's in that writing room now. Maybe we shouldn't be ripping on the WWE writing. If one of our biggest fans and one of our best wrestling friends is in that writing room, maybe we got to keep him around.
Yeah, probably, and we should probably have him on more if he's in the writers' room.
So Stryker hit a heater yesterday and was calling people left and right, huh?
Pretty much. There were maybe 3 or 4 instances where he knew who was coming next. And you know, well, you mentioned my pause last night. I'll just kind of, there were a couple things that really, I wouldn't say soured me on the show. Friend of the show from IMF Wrestling, Ox McCoy. How you doing, Ox? Good to see you.
Hey, Ox.
I think this doesn't take away from a show, but the crowd, then there was a crowd. For those of you who looked at the show and didn't see a crowd, those lights in the stands made it hard to see the people that were there. It's crazy.
I read a comment about the lighting, and I'm not trying to trump what you're saying, just to add to it. The Intuit Dome, where the first Raw on Netflix was last year with the Punk Rollins main event, they have similar lighting.
Okay.
With the lights on the seats. Yeah.
I don't understand.
I read a lot of people like, oh, it was empty. It was empty. Ah. And then people are like, zoom in. It's lights and people are sitting down. It's like get a higher def, resolution television or something. But I can see, man, that was my first thought too. I had to pause it and kind of zoom in.
Yep.
There's people sitting there. It's just, it doesn't look like there are.
And here's the thing, the crowd was quiet. And I don't think it was the crowd itself, because anytime you're in an arena, you're enclosed, the crowd noise is bouncing off the walls and the ceiling. This was a wide open stadium. There is no roof on the Riyadh Season Stadium in Riyadh. So it muffled the crowd noise. I wasn't there. I couldn't say how loud the crowd was in person. But while it doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the show, it kind of, the fact that it was so quiet really was a deterrent. It's like, is this crowd dead? What's going on? Those were my first thoughts. The lack of any real big big surprises. There were a couple, and we'll get to those. There were a couple really good ones there's one really good one that I can think of off the top of my head, but the lack of surprises the last couple of years, because there hasn't really been anyone big coming in for the Rumble the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Well, it's kind of been hard because if WWE doesn't have them scooped up, then AEW has them scooped up.
Right.
And if those two don't have them scooped up, they're overseas. And if TNA has them, then they're essentially working with WWE. So, yeah, it's harder to bring in somebody who's available that you can get under contract and work. You know, if you want to work a few dates with them, if you just want, you know, months, year, I don't know. And then for that, I think a lot of it is why go now. I think the rationale now and thinking is if there is not a guy to have out there, we need to invest more money and build our own guys to become bigger.
Exactly.
And I think they've done a good job of that. I know the hang up with the recent storytelling in WWE or the lack thereof or the lack of creative or what's going on with the release of Unreal, you know, season 2. And we can talk about that at a different time if you want. I don't care. But it's you can bang on that, but look at the people that were in that Rumble last night. That was one of the more loaded men's Royal Rumbles I can remember. And I probably only had like 3 or 4 moaners and groaners, I call them, when they came out, knowing like, why the hell are you here? There's no need for you to be in here.
There's someone else who could be taking this spot that is
correct.
That the fans would appreciate more, that has more hype and is more of a veteran in the business, or maybe not a veteran, but who has, and you know who I'm talking about, Nick. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, there were a couple of spots where it's like you put this person here when you could have had somebody better. And you know, one of the big things from reading online, everybody was upset that there was no Chris Jericho. I understand the upsetness, but go to FozzyRocks.com. Look at their touring schedule. They are in Europe right now. So Jericho is currently touring with his band. There was no way he was going to make the Rumble with his tour for Fozzy.
Let me ask you this, because you are a bigger Chris Jericho mark than I am. Did it ruin your night that he wasn't in that match?
Not at all.
Thank you. I mean,
not at all.
Yes, it's going to be cool to see him come back and what he comes out as and what music's playing. I agree with that. But the same people that are bummed that he wasn't there last night or completely disappointed last night, they weren't the same people that gave a shit about him 6 months ago. They didn't care what he was doing. So It's going to happen at the right time. I agree it would have been great. But as the numbers kept passing, you know, I'm like, he ain't going to be here. He gets to 29. He's like, nope, because we all know who 30 was. If you used your brain last night, you know, you didn't think he'd come out before. I didn't think he'd come out before 25.
Right.
So once you start doing the math, Chris Jericho wasn't going to be 30. He wasn't coming out, you know. That was Gunther coming out at 30, you know, like there may not have been the major surprises of some major name showing up and doing something in the Rumble, but there were major surprises during said Rumble that I think made up for it.
That's true. I will give you that for sure. As we break things down, where do you want to start? Do we want to start with that main event? Do we want to talk about the men's first, or do we want to talk?
No, we're going to go in order of the show.
Okay, that works for me. I love that.
Okay.
I thought the start of the women's match was brilliant. The number 1 and number 2, when Charlotte came out, I'm like, okay, Alexa's going to be number 2. They're gonna pull the trigger on that, and there's going to be some kind of one-upsmanship at the beginning of the match. I thought that was really cool. I will say this: they mentioned it during the Rumble. There are a lot of women's tag teams right now. There are a lot of women factions right now. And this Rumble was stacked with all of them. You have just name a few. You have the Judgment Day. You have Alexa and Charlotte, Nia and Lash Legend, Rhea and Io were in there. I wish. Part of me wishes there were more singles stars in the women, but there's just the way they have the women's roster stacked right now. There are more tag teams that are built of singles competitors put together than there are of just individual women. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, that can be said on the men's side too.
That's fair.
Come on. We started this show back in 2022, and 3 years plus. We'll celebrate our 4th year later this year, Lord willing. And there's been a blatant disregard for tag team wrestling just about everywhere. It's not just a WWE problem. Look at AEW. My boys, FTR, are the tag champs. And there's been nothing exciting so far about this reign. They're not. There's no really true tag teams anymore. It is such a lost art, and it's disappearing as each week passes here in wrestling. So, yeah, there are a lot of women ladies tag teams that could be made. But it's they're not even thinking of that from the start. That's just an afterthought, and that's not even thought about in the developmental. And then we'll build that bridge and cross it if we have to. And that's not a good way to do things, I don't think.
I agree. Back in the day is not the right term, but look at teams on the men. We'll go to the men's side, like the Street Profits. They were a team in NXT. They've been a team their entire time in the WWE.
And they've been off TV a long time.
They have. It's been since right after Mania, if I'm remembering correctly, from last year.
It's been a while. It's been quite a while.
Up until recently, the Usos have been a tag team their entire WWE run, and now they're back as a tag team. You don't see tag teams come up. You see individuals, and then they get put together for.
What's your take on Fraxium then?
That's the exception to the rule, because they were singles. They were put together in NXT, but they have been a tag team more, in my opinion, and they're more known for being that tag team.
Yep. I agree with that.
But yeah, that's one thing that I wouldn't say bothered me, but it's this is a every person for themselves match, and you have all these teams that are showing up in there. On not so much on the men, some on the men, but more on the women's side. All these partnerships and teams that are, helping each other out, with few exceptions. I don't know how I want to word this. But you know what I'm saying, Nick? Do you understand? Can you help me out and word this better than my brain is trying to put it together?
My understanding, you want more tag teams instead of just singles together.
Right. But I don't want all these singles together tag teams to be prominent in the Rumble match when it's every woman for themselves also. I would rather see the
I see that. I mean, I don't know. It's also the women's Rumble. What is this, the 8th time they've done that?
8 or 9, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you mean. Obviously, it's more obvious in the men's Rumble that what's at stake, as opposed to the women's Rumble, right?
Right.
I know Charlotte accidentally eliminated Alexa Bliss. That wasn't on purpose, but they're going to build off that. I get it. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
The women's match was, well, let's be upfront. You and I talked off air. The men's match was better than the women's, but I liked the ending of the women's match more than men's. I don't remember the last time 3 competitors were out on the apron vying for the win. I get it. What I was glad that Sol Ruca was when NXT was represented well in this match. Sol did a hell of a job and is a star. No matter how you spin it, she is a future star.
For sure.
It would have been cool to see her in the final 2, but I get why she wasn't. You've got 2 of the biggest names in the business with Sol Ruca. One of those 2 of the biggest names in the business is going to come out the winner, and they made the right choice. Liv winning her first Rumble was fantastic. Sol hitting the double Soul Snatcher before they got out onto the apron, definitely one of my favorite moments of the women's match. On the other side of that, did we need Brie Bella?
Did we need Nikki Bella?
Did we need either?
I mean,
Bella?
you can look, but you can't touch. And I mean, I don't plan on touching, but I'm telling you what, man, those ladies have aged very well.
That's true, but there are probably other names that could have been in there.
No mention of Lash Legend. Dude, they booked her like
I was getting there.
They booked her like a monster last night.
Yes, they did.
Like
I was very impressed.
She became a star last night. After every elimination, kind of laying there on the ropes, twirling her hair, doing her thing. Like, dude, and that's Trick Williams' fiance.
Yes.
Yep. Because they were chanting to whoop that Trick when she was doing stuff in the ring. I was like, yeah, this crowd kind of they were getting it.
And I thought, so Lash was kind of my looking at it, you look at who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to be runner up? Who's going to be the Iron Man or woman? And who's going to have the most eliminations? Those are really the 4 major things that people take away from any Rumble match. I honestly thought that Raquel was going to have a better showing as far as eliminations go. And I'm not taking away from Raquel. She did fantastic, but Lash Legend, you're right. She came out of this looking like a star.
Yeah, I thought Raquel was going to look like what Lash Legend looked like. Raquel was still featured. There's a story to tell there with her and Liv. I mean, that's going to come apart that's going to come apart here as we approach WrestleMania, maybe before. And doesn't Raquel have a match with Stephanie Vaquer tomorrow night on Raw?
I believe so. I'd have to look.
What if she takes it off her? then what?
Yeah, that's a great question. If I'd have to look at, I don't remember specifically off the top of my head if they do have a match, but if I'm almost positive you are. Well, you're never wrong, but
yeah.
No, that would be a great dynamic if Raquel, who does, in my opinion, deserve to walk around with that championship, ended up with the championship going into Mania. So it's her and Liv.
I mean, what's next for Lash? She eliminated Charlotte. She eliminated Jordan Grace. She eliminated Io Sky. She eliminated Nikki Bella.
She eliminated both Bellas.
Both Bellas.
At the same time.
There you go. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens there. The way they booked her, we're led to believe they got big plans for her. So
yeah, I would think so.
Very interested in that.
Jordan Grace, you mentioned Jordan Grace. Before we go off of that, she was my number 2 as far as people who were going to show out, who were going to get the Lash Legend treatment. I thought it was either going to be Raquel or Jordan who are going to be the top performers as far as eliminations go. And I was wrong. I'm pleasantly wrong.
Let's talk about my alleged pick to win the Women's Rumble.
Okay.
Who didn't even show up? Bianca Belair.
Right. Which, by the way, Bianca Belair, if you want, Nick made some great picks on the Off the Air with Matt Randazzo podcast. Give a shout out to him. Nick is a guest every once in a while when they talk.
Had a great time over there talking Royal Rumble. Yep, with Matt Randazzo. Shout out to Off the Air, Matt Randazzo. Thank you very much.
Speaking of people who've been off TV for a long time, we mentioned the Profits earlier. Bianca Belair's been gone for a while too.
Exactly. That's why I thought she's going to come back. Liv was my second pick, though. But they made the right call with Liv. Like, I'm not bummed Bianca didn't show up and win.
Right.
Not at all. Like, Liv did a great job. And Liv was able to do that because she had the help around her and was able to dispose of that help when time arose. So she made the most of her opportunity. I did not like the ending of the Women's Rumble.
Why not?
It's one thing for three people to be on a ladder reaching for the title at the end of a Money in the Bank match or a ladder match. Why would all three be in the place where they can get eliminated the easiest? I hate that.
Okay.
I just hate it. Like, I knew it was me like bowling pins. They're all going to collide and one's going to stand. And that's kind of how it went down. And we've overused the apron spots to the point that every time they go to the apron now, I just roll my eyes.
Yes.
And I know that. Royal Rumble. Yes, I understand that. Yes, I understand they have to do two. But we have to overuse the apron spot. Do we have to? Please. There's got to be other ways.
There are plenty of other ways. You could low bridge somebody. You could see. Well, I mean, I think the clothesline spot is overused too, but there are plenty of other ways that people can be eliminated from that match than just having everybody out on the apron.
Right. I wasn't upset with Liv winning. But when all three went out there, I'm like, oh no, this is the ending. Like, I'd rather have seen something more in ring.
I get that. I do. One more thing I'll say as far as Liv goes. Did you happen to notice she was so caught up in the moment that the ref had to remind her to point at the sign?
Yes, I did see the production of the ref guy pointing. Yes. I did laugh. I wrote that down. I laughed my ass off, but that's what happens. I mean, they do get caught up in the moment, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. Even
you and I need to have like a WrestleMania sign, like at the top of our graphic.
Okay.
And each time I have a hot take, I can turn and look at the sign. And then you can do the same thing over your right shoulder.
I'll work on
other
that.
Other shoulder.
This shoulder?
Yeah. And then I do see, we put the sign there.
I'll work on that. I'll see what I can do. No, any final thoughts on the women's match before we go on to the next?
Outside the ending, I thought it was a pretty strong field of women. Not a lot of duds in there, or not a lot of that. So there were some good ones. I mean, I felt bad for Zelina Vega. I think you could have heard a desert mouse fart in that crowd when she came out. I mean, that place went hush. And I mean, stars were made. I mean, Rhea Ripley looked like $1 million and she didn't win. Same with Last Legend. A lot of good things can happen out of not winning these matches. And we're going to see that as these months, days, and weeks and months proceed here to WrestleMania. But yeah, outside of the ending, I thought the women's match was watchable. It was fine.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. After the women, we move on to the do or die Gunther versus AJ. If AJ loses, he's out. I thought this match was great. I'm just going to throw that out there. The match itself, fantastic. They did a really good job. If I'm going to nitpick anything, I'm going to nitpick the aftermath of the match. I thought that it felt really awkward. AJ was in the ring for way too long, and I'm not trying to take away from his retirement because I have a feeling he'll be in TNA to finish his career. But taking off the gloves, teasing, leaving them down, putting them back on, leaving the ring, and then coming back, it was just it was too long for me. Does that make sense? And everything seemed really forced.
Yeah, the ending was very awkward. I mean, they could have shaved a lot of time off this pay-per-view with just the awkward stuff. And that did seem a little awkward. leads me to believe, like you just said, CZ. I mean, we had a thought, we had an inkling that this was going to be his last match in WWE. His contract is up in February. Ta-da! It's February, and on top of that, he's going to make a run in TNA, and I don't think anybody has a problem with him being retired in WWE and going and wrestling in TNA and finishing his career. This isn't Ric Flair unretiring 5 times and having 10 more retirement matches. This is him being competitively done in WWE, and I think he's going to go finish out with TNA. I don't think you're going to see him in AEW, and I also hope we don't see him in AEW. It would go against what AJ has said. AJ wants to kind of go out while he still has it, type of deal. He's getting older. I believe the guy's 50. He's awfully close. He's taking incredible care of his body, and wants to get out and spend time with his family. Good for him. So, but I think he's, we're not going to see him wrestle after 26, but I think we're not done seeing him wrestle. He'll be in TNA to close out his career there.
And here's the thing, TNA is the appropriate place, in my opinion, for him to close out his career, because that's where he made his mark first and foremost. I mean, he was a pillar of TNA, so to speak. Everybody talks about the X Division match between him, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe as being the benchmark for every X Division match afterwards. There's a reason for that. And AJ is arguably the biggest reason for that, although I don't want to take anything away from Daniels or Joe.
Oh, it took all 3 of them to make that match perfect.
Oh, it did.
AJ Styles, to me, like, he's on the indie wrestling Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
I remember him when he was on the indies coming up, and then in TNA, and just being mesmerized. And I think he got to WWE maybe a year or two too late in his career at that time. But so happy that he got there and be able to have the matches that he had. And he had 2 title runs with the WWE title. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And, he went out there last night and did what wrestlers do. They go out, they put on a performance, and at the end of the day, when it comes down to a retirement match or something, you're putting over the younger talent who's going to be around for the next generation. And that's what happened last night. There wasn't, you don't hear any outcry about that ending last night. I thought the match was so well done. And AJ Styles going out in a blaze of glory, and Gunther staving him off at every pass. And that was physical. And then you had the referees enter turmoil at the end, not wanting to lift AJ's arm, knowing that he was out. And he had those ties with AJ. I thought that was great. I liked that part. And, Styles went out against a monster and got retired. That's what the storyline is. Again, I think Gunther he's having an incredible run. And if he had won the Rumble last night, I don't know if anybody could talk about a better run right now. But I love this match. I'm glad you commented on it first. I'll rip apart Gunther stuff if there's something atrocious, but I thought last night was excellent. I just thought it was great.
And even without winning the Rumble, he is on a tremendous run. And I don't think he needs the Rumble win, just like he doesn't need a title. He is a massive star in more ways than one.
Oh, for sure he is. And I thought this match was the best match on the card.
I agree. I completely agree.
I thought this was the best match.
I completely agree. I can't argue with that one bit.
You know what I can't argue with?
What's that?
That we are the Card Subject to Change podcast, and we are on the Wrestling Society Network. And of course, we are powered by Lopez Pizza. I wonder what the boys at Lopez thought about the Rumble.
I'd love to go down and find out. I haven't been down there for a while, I'll be honest, and I need to get down there.
I stepped outside a little bit before the show, and it's cold. I'm just so sick and tired of this cold, but it's going to get warmer this week. It's going to be mid-30s this week, so we're going to rejoice about that.
Right.
We're talking, he's the Wizard CZ. I'm never wrong, Nick Bull. Card Subject to Change podcast here, episode 236. We are breaking down the Rumble from Riyadh. We're halfway through the card, brings us now to our WWE title match with Drew McIntyre defending against Sami Zayn. A lot of thoughts going into this. I didn't know if, it'd be a battle, a war. Drew pulls something out at the end and wins. Sami maybe backdoors it, gets into the Rumble, and wins the Rumble type of deal. I thought that would be the time and place to do it if you were going to do it.
Yep.
They obviously didn't. At the same time, Sami hasn't beat Drew in like 12 or 13 times in a row.
Last night was 12.
Okay, last night was 12. Okay, 12 times in a row, 11 times in a row, now 12. There's a story. They're going to come back to that. That's not over.
But they also hyped up the fact that Sami had never lost in Saudi.
Correct. They made the right call. Drew McIntyre is a really good wrestler. Like, he's really good. The presentation, how he looks like a wrestler. You're not going to mess with the 6'5", 285-pound dude. You're just not.
Right.
So he's legit. There's some legitimacy to him. And he's out there, and Sami takes an ass kicking like nobody else and just makes Drew look that much better. So I enjoyed this match. I didn't think it was as good as the match prior with AJ and Gunther, but the right decision was made, and this isn't over. This will continue. We're not done seeing these two guys go at it.
I agree. You are correct. I was a little worried about Sami with that Tope con Hilo spot.
Oh, yes. That worried me more. We'll talk about the men's Rumble spots. It kind of worried me a little bit. But yeah, the Sami one was the one that looked the scariest to me.
I mean, the way he landed, and you could tell that he probably did tweak his back a little bit, but maybe
I
not
bet he did. I bet he did. And you just like saying Tope con Hilo.
I do. Nobody uses that term
I'm
anymore.
going to get you a shirt that says Tope con Hilo.
You need to get me another shirt that says Oshigoroshi then. So I have the pair.
So you have what?
The pair. I need Oshigoroshi as well as Tope con Hilo.
You effing Mark.
Admittedly, and a big one. But no, you can see Sami motioning to Charles Robinson when he's checking him. Yeah, I'm good to go. But you're right. This was a good match, but it wasn't as good as the one before it. I think Gunther and AJ being as good as it was, Sami and Drew had a lot to live up to, and maybe that overshadowed it a little bit. But that's not taking it. Was still a really good match. They did a great job.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It would not be the last though we see of both of these guys though.
Not at all.
Nope.
And you've got to think eventually they're going to give Sami the title, even for a short run. You've got to think that before he is all done, he's going to hold one of those two main belts, at least for a short period.
We'll see.
I certainly hope so anyway. That brings us to the main event from my friend.
It does. The men's Royal Rumble match. A wide open men's Royal Rumble match. I can't remember a Royal Rumble match where I thought like possibly 10 different guys had a legitimate shot in winning.
How much did you mark out, for lack of a better term, when Oba came out number one?
I don't know if I marked out because I was sitting on the couch, the dog was laying on me, and I had a Mountain Dew in my hand, but like I think my face probably went like this. Like when I heard the drums at the beginning, I'm like, oh yes, I don't think he's gonna win, but he's gonna have a big night.
And he did.
He did. That entrance was awesome, dude. His walk to the ring, I don't care. Some people hate it. I freaking love it. Just have that gallop, that gait, and everything that you do, and you'll be going places, I think.
Oh, yeah. I thought him coming out number 1, I thought was the right move.
Oh God, yes.
Especially with as long as he was in there and with as much as he got to show himself off.
Yes.
And then we get number 2, Braun Breaker, and there is a huge story developing here because Braun didn't even make it to the ring before he was taken. He got eliminated from the ring, but he got pretty much taken out before he even made it all the way to the ring. And you got Paul Heyman freaking out. We've got yet another, and I'm tired of guys wearing all black with a ski mask coming in to be a surprise. There are better ways to do that.
Is that safe to say that's your number 1 hated thing in wrestling here, just 32 days into the new year?
At this moment, I would say yes.
And your most loved thing is the Tope con Hilo?
Tope con Hilo!
No. Yeah, this is a big story. Now, a lot of people are going to crap all over this, and I'm going to give you a take that I took last night. I said to myself, Braun was my pick to win the Rumble.
Right.
And this didn't upset me. This is why we watch wrestling, folks. This is why we watch wrestling. We watch it to be surprised, to be swerved. And what better way? Everybody thought he'd be in the Final 4. I picked him to win. And though a little tired of the all black jumping people, him getting attacked, thrown into Oba, and then Oba just eliminates him, like, that was huge.
Yes.
Like, right, wrong, or indifferent, that was a huge moment for Oba. Like, Braun Breaker sold that like he didn't know what the hell just hit him. And now we're talking about another attacker involved with the Vision. Oh, he did the curb stomp. It could be Rollins. Well, who else did the curb stomp, CZ?
Oh, it was Austin Theory.
Austin Theory.
A lot of people,
Sure,
even Cole on commentary pointed out that a lot of people are doing that stomp right now.
Absolutely they are.
Now, I don't know if you caught this. I caught it on my rewatch, but Paul Heyman was freaking out. That's Seth Rollins. That's Seth Rollins.
Oh, I know he was. I know he was, dude. He had an absolute meltdown at ringside last night. And him on Raw, like coming out, did you see him and Pierce?
Yes.
On the pre-show?
I didn't see it on the pre-show itself, but I saw when they reshowed it.
Holy smokes. And now this happened. Oh man. He is going to burn Pierce at the stake on Monday night as thinking this is some sort of an elaborate conspiracy.
Yes.
So, I mean, but Braun Breaker, what's he do now? You know, like that was his shot. So it was, I love the surprise. I love the swerve. And if you didn't, that's fine. But that's why I watch wrestling. I watch it for those moments like that.
Yes.
It did not ruin the men's Rumble match, man, but it started it with a bang.
Right. Very much.
Bang!
Bang!
I always love.
I do that every day because of my DDP yoga routine.
What my favorite thing about DDP and the bang thing from WCW back in the day, after he did the bang, he just like kind of stagger like this.
Yes.
Like,
Since we're talking about DDP and I mentioned DDP yoga, go check out the latest episode of Wrestling with Fitness over on the Wrestling with Fitness YouTube page, as well as on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Cheap plug. The men's Rumble was really good. Weren't a lot of major surprises, but that's okay. The first thing I'm going to bring out here, and now that we've talked about the opening, why, and don't get me wrong, I think I understand why he was there. I understand why they're hyping him so much, because he's a gimmick. He's going to sell merch. Could we have could we have skipped Mr. Iguana and gone and given Finn Balor his rightful shot in the Rumble?
We could have skipped Mr. Iguana. We could have skipped
La Parka.
I get Ray Phoenix and Penta be in there. We could have skipped those two. Here's why. We're in Saudi Arabia. I'd bet dollars to donuts they don't give a rat's ass about AAA.
And the crowd goes mild.
I like AAA.
I do too.
I've been watching the show. I enjoy it. But those, come on. No way was Iguana going to win. No way was La Parka going to win. And there was no reason for AAA to be like featured on that show.
Right.
That's where Finn Balor could have been in.
Did anybody in Saudi actually give a shit about AAA stars? Let's be honest.
That was a bummer for me. Also a bummer for me in the Rumble was here you got the first stare down between Oba and Brock Lesnar. And I'm like, oh man, this would be so great to have Gunther's music hit, to have these three guys have a moment and stare each other down. We got teased 2 years ago with Lesnar and Gunther. But 3, 2, 1.
Awesome!
I'm like, oh shit. No. No, Miz, I like you, but I don't want you here.
And the fact that he came down, he slid in the ring, he saw who was standing in the middle. It's like, I don't want any of this. It's just silly shit.
What'd you think of Brock Lesnar? No selling Ilya Dragunov in the corner and then throwing him like a parent would throw their toddler.
Well, I mean, it just reiterates that Lesnar is an uber badass.
Yeah.
But so is Dragunov in his own right. I mean, he's ragdolled Dragunov out of the ring. Let's not pull any punches, but wow. You mentioned, wanting the stare down between Brock and Oba and Gunther. What did you think about the NXT callback between Oba, Trick, and Javon?
I thought it was cool. Not too long ago, these three were headlining in NXT. What was that pay-per-view that they were headlining the main event? It was recent.
It was over the summer, wasn't it?
It was like it was within the last year.
Yeah.
And here they are. They're on the second biggest show of the year, having a moment in the ring. Like, yeah. It was Oba, Trick, and Javon, right?
Right.
Yeah. It was cool. It was really cool.
And all three of those are future stars.
Absolutely. I think Trick got eliminated by Cody. Javon was in there for a while. Javon's in there because he's lightning in a bottle. I mean, he's a great talent, don't get me wrong, but he can do so much, not just offensively, but like making the opponent look good too in the way that he takes it.
Yeah.
And, takes the bump and whatnot. So, yeah, that moment with those three guys was pretty cool.
I thought so too. I enjoyed that. Excuse me. The men's rumble overall, I thought was really good. A lot of great names. Yeah, Finn Balor should have been in there. 100%. You could replace any of 4 or 5 people. You mentioned Ray Phoenix. You mentioned Penta. Miz probably could have been replaced. And that's nothing against Miz. You and I both love him, but Finn Balor needed his spot. I imagine there's something big coming out of this.
I think so. That's probably the story. I don't know who Roman's going after, but with it being Chicago, Punk's got to be on that card. So he's either defending that title in Elimination Chamber or he has a match. There's no way he's not on that card.
I mean, here's the thing: when you look on paper, Punk and Roman still have a beef. Going back to last year, going back a year and a half to Survivor Series, when Punk asked for the favor. And then going back to the triple threat at Mania, there is still something there. So likely Roman is going to go after Punk. That's just my thinking. But I don't know. Where do you put because I would hope that with the way Braun Breaker,
I'm not picking apart your rationale or anything, but I don't know if the people care enough for Punk Reigns.
well, do they care enough for Reigns and Drew?
What I was getting at is I don't think they care about Punk Reigns when Punk Rollins can be had.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Or maybe that's my thinking, because Roman Punk, a one-on-one match, sure, both those guys are great, but that doesn't really I don't care about that match.
It's not high on my priority.
I'll watch it as a fan,
I'll watch
I'll
it,
consume it, but I won't really care about it.
Of the choices we have right now, though, I would rather see Punk and Reigns versus Drew and Reigns. I know there's some beef there because of Drew losing in his home country a number of years ago at Clash at the Castle.
Sure.
But honestly, I think the better match is going to be Roman and Punk versus Roman and Drew.
All right.
That's just my opinion.
No. I see that. Cody Rhodes is going to figure into one of these matches.
So you're saying there's going to be another multi-man match at WrestleMania?
I don't know which one, but there will be.
Likely, I did see someone make a graphic online. If Cody finds a way into a match, my guess is it's going to be Drew, Cody, and Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning to. That's where I'm leaning.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go back to 2000 where we had a
I'm not saying, I've said before, I didn't care who won the Rumble last night as long as it wasn't Cody Rhodes.
Right.
No, I don't hate Cody Rhodes. Maybe I have Cody Rhodes fatigue. I'm not saying Cody Rhodes has to win a title, but I think he's going to be in a title match. And if he's not, who's his opponent? Okay. I would have been the biggest Cody Rhodes fan in the world last night had he have thrown out Jey Uso after Jey Uso restarted his theme in the ring. If Cody just would have turned around and thrown Jey Uso out, I probably would have put Gunther at number 2 and put Cody Rhodes at number 1 on my list.
And it has to be done when Jey is on the middle turnbuckle.
Yep, just push him off. Just shove him off.
Shove him off.
Yep.
And that's no offense to Jey. Jey's not.
And thank you to Roman Reigns for smacking some sense into your cousin.
Right.
And restarting that theme last night. That popped me. Popped me.
Maybe that will smarten up Jey so that we don't see the run it back.
Oh, I hate it.
Moving forward.
I hate it. But I love the men's rumble. I did. Ending didn't bother me at all. I know my guy lost, but I did not think he was going to win anyways.
Right.
Who were the
what is Gunther's main?
Who were the final 4? Roman, Gunther,
Randy
Orton,
and Logan Paul. Yep.
I don't know. I don't know who Gunther's opponent is because he eliminated Randy Orton. Okay, fine. They've had their one match and there was controversy with it. But with what Gunther's currently doing, Orton's not retiring soon.
No.
This year, so I don't know how it makes sense.
It would make sense to me for him to face a Brock Lesnar and lose at Mania.
Correct.
And then get his win back at SummerSlam when Brock is officially planning.
That's kind of what I thought too, but I don't know if we're getting there now.
That's fair.
Maybe we get Oba. I mean, maybe we get Oba and Brock. Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Who's Oba's opponent? Because if you are number 1 in the Royal Rumble and you have a night like Oba Femi had last night in the Royal Rumble or an afternoon like he had yesterday, who is his opponent at WrestleMania? He's got to be on the show.
I would imagine if
There's
he's
2
not,
nights, and he's got to be on the show.
That's tough. That's really tough.
And he's not on Raw or SmackDown. He's not picked.
He's still a free agent.
Exactly. What's your letter grade for the show? What'd you think of the ending of the match, and what's your letter grade?
I thought the ending was well done. I can't find any fault with it. You knew that since this was in Saudi, one of the bigger names was going to win. So I'm not upset that it was Roman. Letter grade, I'm
for the show.
Kind of hedging. What's that?
For the show.
For the show, yeah. I'm kind of hedging between a C and a C plus. I don't think it was the worst show. I don't think it was the best show. I'm kind of in the middle of the road with this one.
I gave it a B minus. There wasn't. I mean, match-wise, the matches were fine. I really didn't have problem with the match. Maybe some parts of a match or the ending of the women's, but Gunther AJ match was fantastic. Drew and Sami was brutal like it should have been, and the men's rumble had some good surprises. So I'm giving it a B minus.
That's fair. I can, and I will err on the side of a C plus, which is the next best thing to a B minus. I will err on that side, but really for me it was middle of the road.
Right. Well, that puts the wrap on this show today.
But we're not done.
We're not done. Double dip afternoon delight. Yeah.
We wrestle 7 days a week and twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sundays, but I got to get that nap in between. No, we have Wrestlebacks coming up tonight at 7:30 here on the Wrestling Society Network.
It's been a long time coming, like we said off the top of the show. Illnesses and scheduling have prevented us from doing this show in January, and so we're kicking off February with this Wrestlebacks. Whether we'll do an additional one this month is to be determined. We will see how things go and what schedules look like, but trying to keep it as an every month thing. I mean, we're not going to do more than that, but if it ends up we do every couple of months for a while, that's understandable too, especially with everybody's schedules.
That's tonight with Joe the Show Winkle. And what are we reviewing, CZ?
We are reviewing New Year's Revolution from 2006. We're going to talk about the Elimination Chamber match and the aftermath, the very first cash-in of Money in the Bank. Super excited for that.
And I'm sure we're going to bring up the live sex celebration too on Raw that followed.
I would have no doubt.
I'm sure it'll be covered. If that's your thing, find us on Wrestlebacks later tonight, 7:30 on the Wrestling Society Network. We're proud to be here on the Wrestling Society Network. We're Card Subject Change. We are powered by Low Pies Pizza.
Yes, we are.
I'm never on the phone. He's Wizard CZ.
And we have our first February interview coming up next week, and I'm excited for this one. He's a very prominent star in Zawa Live. He is the Rockstar Rhapsody, Mr. Iori St. Clair. Nick, I know you got to see him for the first time last month, and first thing you said to me was, you got to get this guy booked, and I already had him on the book.
You're like, I already have him booked, and I'm like, oh, look at you.
That is next week, and it's at an early start time. I will point that out because next week is that big game that we're not allowed to say
we're going to try and be a part of your Sunday still in a way, but before that big game, I know everybody else will be watching, so no use to be doing a podcast when the big game is on. So
exactly. So that'll come your way at 4:15 Central Time next Sunday. Super excited for that. Super excited for our first February guest, and we've got a stacked lineup for February. We'll talk more about that later. But any final thoughts to wrap things up on this edition of Card Subject to Change?
No, look for our best of January winners later this week. We'll tabulate the votes, get those posted.
Yes.
Of course, as we gear towards the end of the year in our year-end award show, which I know it's February, but it's going to be December before we know it.
It is. This January has already gone by way faster than it should have.
Yes, but I'm glad it is, because 31 days of coldness is gone. Now we're on to the short month. So let's go.
And the days are only getting longer and the weather is only getting warmer.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
That is it for this edition of Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan for the fan on the Wrestling Society Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week right here at Card Subject to Change and later tonight for a new edition of WrestleBacks. Everybody have a great rest of your day.